We are back here on WLTH 1370 AM. Issues and Answers, Free Speech Friday. And Rev.
Say what you think.
Yeah, say what you think. Say what's on your mind. And we're not done, possibly offending people because also this week, the Supreme Court. A big story is that the Supreme Court is actually hearing a story about a Christian graphic artist who objects to designing wedding websites for gay couples. The latest collision of religion and gay rights to hit the Supreme Court. Now, this designer and her supporters say that the ruling against her would force artists, from painters and photographers to writers and musicians, to do work that is against their beliefs. Her opponents, meanwhile, say that if she wins, a range of businesses will be able to discriminate, refusing to serve black, here we go again, Jewish or Muslim customers, interracial or interfaith couples, or immigrants. So over 2 or more hours of spirited arguments, the justices repeatedly tested out what ruling for the designer could mean, using detailed and sometimes colorful hypothetical scenarios. Those included a black Santa Claus being asked to take a picture with a child dressed in a Ku Klux Klan outfit, a photographer asked to take pictures for a marital infidelity website like Ashley Madison, and an invented food business called Grandma Helen's Protestant Provisions. The case comes at a time when the court is dominated 63 by conservatives and follows a series of cases in which the justices have sided with the religious plaintiffs. Across the street from the court, meanwhile, legislators in Congress they already finalized the landmark bill protecting same-sex. Now, during the arguments, the 3 liberal justices expressed concern about the ruling for website designer and graphic artist Lori Smith, while conservatives suggested support for her. Justice Neil Gorsuch, who was appointed by Donald Trump, described her as an individual who says she will sell and does sell to everyone all manner of websites, but that she will not sell a website that requires her to express a view about marriage that she that she finds offensive. Now, Smith, who is based in Colorado, doesn't currently create wedding websites. She wants to, but says her Christian faith prevents her from creating websites celebrating same-sex marriages. Colorado, like most states, has what's called a public accommodation law that says if Smith offers wedding websites to the public, she must provide them to all customers. Businesses that violate this law can be fined, among other things. Now, Ms. Smith says that the law violates her First Amendment rights. The state disagrees. A looming question during Monday's arguments: at what point does an objection to serving someone cross the legal line? Now, listen to this. This is Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the black woman that Biden just put on there. Yes. One of the court's 3 liberals asked whether a photography store in a shopping mall could refuse to take pictures of black people on Santa's lap. So you see that once again they get the black person to play the mammy for Jackson's fellow liberal Supreme Justice Sonia Sotomayor says that if the court rules for Smith, it would be the first time the justices would say that a commercial business open to the public, serving the public, that could refuse to serve a customer based on race, sex, religion, or sexual orientation. Now, Sotomayor repeatedly pressed Smith's lawyer on what business owners could refuse to do. She said, how about people who don't believe in interracial marriage? Here we go again. Or about people who don't believe that disabled people should get married.
Never heard anyone say that.
Yeah, I've never heard that either, Sotomayor asked. But conservative Justice Samuel Alito, who seemed to favor Smith, asked whether it's fair to equate opposition to same-sex marriage to opposition of interracial marriage. Again, the conservative, unfortunately, has to do what the black person should be doing. And he pointed to language in the court's 2015 opinion declaring nationwide right to same-sex marriage about honorable people who object to same-sex marriages. Samuel Alito was also the justice who asked whether a black person dressed as Santa could refuse to take a picture with a child dressed in a KKK outfit. And so, again, Rev, here we go. There are how many people who make wedding websites in the world? There's got to be thousands.
Yeah.
Got to be thousands. There's probably hundreds in Colorado, or at least a few
Oh,
dozen in Colorado alone.
Yeah.
This case is once again, and they're using black people again, and black people are allowing ourselves to be used to force somebody's lifestyle down everyone else's throat. Because again, if Lori Smith doesn't want to make a gay website, a website for a gay couple, you could just go to somebody else who will.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say this. Things online aren't predicated. This is one of the great things about the internet. You don't have to actually be in Colorado to make a website for somebody in Colorado. I can make a website for somebody in Gary, Indiana. I could be sitting here right now and say, Adam and Steve, I'm going to make your website here from, WLTH studio. I could do that. So they're not even limited by Colorado.
Wait a minute. Lanita made a website for her mobile notary business.
Right.
She is not a web designer.
Right.
She went to that, GoDaddy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And GoDaddy don't care anything about you.
Exactly.
GoDaddy is an algorithm, an AI platform.
Yep.
You input the data, it spits out the web page.
Yes.
You could cut out the middleman.
Yep.
If you want to.
Yep. But again, what is this really about? This is about trying to force, to say that any opposition whatsoever to people's like, look, I'm pro letting adults be adults. It's a free country. We have already said, look, we've already said that, from a sheerly legal perspective, they can get married. Okay, fine. If you want to get married, get married. People also, as adults, have a right to disagree with that. Yeah. Just like I have a right to disagree with if the KKK said we want you to cater our KKK festival, I could be like, no, that's not my thing, G. I'm sorry.
Can't help you.
But if I worked at McDonald's, right, there's a difference between me working at McDonald's and a guy I know is in the KKK coming in and just ordering a hamburger and me serving him, but me having to cater the KKK's festival. Mm-hmm. Like, they're two different things. They're trying to make it seem like they're the same thing. Like just merely not wanting to celebrate or support an event that has, values that you don't support is the same exact thing as black people being denied eating at the lunch counter like you talked about in your story. Yeah. And they're using us, and again, you see they had the black woman out there who threw herself in front of, the white liberals. That's what we do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, she's got to pay back for, being allowed to be in the room where it happens.
Right.
So, I get it. You got dues to pay, so you're paying down your bill.
Right. And see.
But I don't have to pay her bill.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing. This isn't the only scenario in which you can disagree with somebody's lifestyle. I remember Wilt Chamberlain, right? We just talked about Wilt Chamberlain because it's his birthday a few weeks ago, right?
Right.
He wrote a book in the early 90s when I was a little kid. I remember this like it was yesterday because it was all in living color. Everybody else made fun of it. He made a book where he talked about sleeping with 20,000 women. Remember that, Real?
Oh, yeah.
And people killed Wilt Chamberlain for that. Now, I'm assuming the women he slept with were consenting adults.
Last I heard.
But people had a right to disagree with that. And people just like people have a right to think that porn is wrong. People have a right to think that if you're a porn star, they don't, like banks regularly say they don't want porn stars' business. Mm-hmm. That is their right because they don't agree with the lifestyle that those people are living. Okay? They are trying to take same-sex relationships from that realm, which it's a lot closer to, and put it in the realm with black people, again, who built this country. Mm-hmm. We were enslaved for hundreds of years, brought here against our will, built the country, enslaved.
No compensation
for that. No compensation for that, exactly.
And no getting welfare is not compensation.
White majority of people on welfare are white. It will always have been.
And an NBA contract for Bobo It's not compensation for that.
It is not. It is absolutely not. So they're trying again. They're being slick, and this is why I always tell people, like I said, on this show we have to stand up because like this is probably one of the few shows you'll see anywhere outside of maybe somebody like Farrakhan or whatever. I don't know. Who will push back on the CNN, MSNBC narratives that gay people are analogous to black people or transgender people are analogous to black people. Until they're slaves, until they're kidnapped and sold from their
home and family and everything else.
Exactly, and brought somewhere and forced to work for free for hundreds of years and forced into intergenerational slavery for 400 years, then they're not like black people.
Sorry.
They are not like black people, and white women are not like black people. I'm sorry.
Sure not.
They are definitely not like black people. But again, if you're not gonna get the contract on MSNBC if you push back on type of like Joy Reid actually had a website before she was on MSNBC some years ago. There was a controversy because on her old website she posted some stuff that was perceived as homophobic. She said something to the extent of most straight men are naturally homophobic, which I personally think is relatively true. Okay, in the sense that what they call homophobic, just not into it, because like as a straight man, when I see like if I see two dudes kissing, my instinct is to recoil, not because I hate them. It's just not what I'm into. Just like if I see somebody eating some food that I that smells bad or doesn't like that isn't culturally like I watch people from different cultures eat dog or something. If I look at somebody eating a dog, I might recoil. It doesn't mean I hate them. It just means that this is not natural for me.
Right.
Okay. Now maybe me eating a hamburger is not natural for somebody who's in India. You know what I mean? Because they don't eat ham. They don't eat beef. You know what I mean?
Right.
But and I understand that. It doesn't mean they hate me. Just like me not wanting to see two dudes kissing doesn't mean I hate them. So I understood what Joy Reid was saying, but because she was on MSNBC now, she had to completely deny. She didn't just say, "I'm sorry I wrote that." She actually said time-traveling hackers, she implied that time-traveling hackers went back in time and put that on her old website in spite of the fact that it was archived.
Oops.
So that's what I'm saying. When you're black and you want to get that liberal money because they control academia, they control the media, from what we talked about last week, the Twitter papers or whatever, the Twitter files, they control social media. So because of that, if you are black and you want the bag in any way, you want tenure at a university, you want your own show in the media on CNN, you want to be Don Lemon, you want to be and let me say this, there's a reason they keep picking gay black dudes too. Like Don Lemon, Victor Black, all these dudes too. There's a reason for that as well. They keep picking these dudes on purpose. These sort of emasculated black men. But if you push back on this, in any way, you are not getting tenure at any university. You're not going to be able to write a book with the major publishing houses. You're not going to get that show on CNN or MSNBC, or you're not going to get that column in the New York Times or the LA Times or the Chicago Sun-Times or whatever.
You're going to be stuck writing for Muhammad's speech.
Yeah, you're going to be on the final call.
Final call, that's you.
Right, and so what ends up happening is that since there's nobody to push back on this in the mainstream, you even see a lot of, people in the black church, a lot of black ministers who, love, bring the Clintons into their church and bring Joe Biden into their church and Obama and all these people. They go along with this too because, again, who has the money? Who has the money? Who's gonna, who's gonna bring in? Who's gonna donate and who's gonna? So it's sort of you scratch my back, I scratch yours. I'll let you come in. You can speak to my congregation in a fake Southern accent, the way that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and them people love to do. Joe Biden sometimes loves to do and pretend that you a down home religious, good old boy from the South or whatever. And you donate some money to us, but it's important that we as black people understand that as ADOS people, our legacy is under attack. They're about to get rid of affirmative action, And even before that, people, non-ADOS black people from Africa, Asians, Hispanics, white women, all these other people eating off affirmative action, whose purpose was supposed to be to make up for the fact that we had been slaves for hundreds of years, and we were still dealing with the ramifications of slavery, of Jim Crow and segregation. It was supposed to be to help us. It was supposed to be to help us get integrated into the society after hundreds of years of abuse and warfare against our community. Now it's for everybody. And so now they're essentially saying that you can't judge anything that community does separately from the way you look at black issues. And black people can't see how dangerous that is for us. A lot of black people can't see. Like I said, there's some smart people who listen to this show, and we've had some great callers over the years who see through it. But a lot of people can't. A lot of black people will go wherever white liberals tell them to go, unfortunately. And, you know, you see it, and this is sort of the outcome. Pretty soon, they're about to do the same thing with the transgender stuff. They're about to start trying to replace our mothers, our sisters, our grandmothers. As I've said, I believe here plenty of times, I believe mother is the most important job in society. If your society has good moms, you've got a good society. But they're trying to replace our moms. You're going to be a bigot if you don't want to date somebody who has filled themselves with hormones and gotten surgery to make themselves a woman. They already consider you a bigot if you say, I don't want to date a transgender woman. You know, if you see a transgender any different than you see your mom, your sister, your daughter, your grandmother, then you are a bigot. And you get black people who go along with this nonsense because white liberals tell them to, and white liberals have the purse strings. And so I'm saying, like I said, this is the dangerous thing about this. Seriously. So we as a community need to do better. All right, folks, please stay with us when we get back. Happy happies.
Yay.
Yes.